A very good morning to all the respected faculty members and dear fellow participants. I, Ms. Nidhi Shirsagar, Assistant Professor IPS Academy, extend a very warm welcome to all present here on behalf of our institute, IPS Academy Indore. It is indeed my honor to welcome you all to our 6 days insightful and inspiring faculty development program, Entrepreneurship on Wheels, Navigating the Mobile Business Landscape, organized by IPS Academy and sponsored by ATAL AICTE Training and Learning Academy. We are very thankful to AICTE for their support and conducting the 6 days faculty development program, which emphasizes on the learnings in the areas of engineering and management. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our patrons, Architect Achal Chaudhary Sir, President IPS Academy, Mr. Yogendra Jain Sir, Vice President IPS Academy, Dr. Vivek Singh Kushwaha Sir, Director and Professor IPS Academy Indore, and who's also a program convener for this FDP, for their unwavering guidance and mentoring throughout the planning and execution of this FDP. Now, I extend my hearty welcome to all our special guests, resource person, and the speaker for the first session of the 6 days AICTE-sponsored FDP, Entrepreneurship on Wheels, Navigating the Mobile Business Landscape, Mr. Partha Sarkar. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. On behalf of our program coordinators, Dr. Kali Charan Modak Sir, Associate Professor IPS Academy, Dr. Pallavi Mukherjee, Associate Professor IPS Academy, Dr. Nidhi Jhawar, Associate Professor IPS Academy, Dr. Arindam Saha, Associate Professor IPS Academy, and the entire team of our 6 days ATAL FDP, titled Entrepreneurship on Wheels, Navigating the Mobile Business Landscape. I extend a warm welcome and gratitude to all the participants who have come from various institutes in and around Madhya Pradesh in their quest for knowledge and learning. We are humbled and grateful for your enthusiastic participation and commitment to enhance your academic skills. Your presence here highlights your commitment for academic growth and excellence. And we at IPS Academy are thrilled to join you on this journey of learning and development. We sincerely hope this AICTE-sponsored 6 days faculty development program organized by IPS Academy will not only provide you with the valuable insights and understandings, but would also inspire you to contribute significantly in the fields of academics. Thank you and welcome each one of you for this FDP program. Now, as we begin with our journey of knowledge and enlightenment, I take this privilege to welcome you for this inaugural ceremony of the 6 days esteemed FDP titled Entrepreneurship on Wheels, Navigating the Mobile Business Landscape. Let us all offer our prayers to Ma Saraswati and seek her divine blessings through Saraswati Pujan and Vandana. I request all the dignitaries and the program coordinators to please join us in prayer. I request my AV team to kindly play the Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा
I would now request Dr. Kalicharan Modak, sir, Associate Professor, IPS Academy, and the Program Coordinator to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ma'am. So, good morning, everyone, distinguished guest, esteemed speaker, and my dear participants. I am Dr. Kalicharan Modak, the coordinator of this AICT Training and Learning Academy sponsored faculty development program. And I am delighted to welcome you all to this exciting journey of entrepreneurship on wheels, navigating the mobile business landscape. Would like to tell you all about the structure of this particular program. So the concept of entrepreneurship is evolving day by day, and we are witnessing the rapid growth in mobile business ventures that are not limited by geography or fixed locations. So this FDP is designed to explore this dynamic field and equip you with the knowledge, skills, and practical insights indeed to thrive in today's entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially in mobile business models. So our focus will be on innovative, flexible, and scalable business opportunities that align with the need of modern consumers, whether it is a mobile service or on-demand delivery business. So the goal is to enable you to envision and create business model that can adopt and grow in the fast changing economic environment. So objective of this FDP is to understand the mobile business models, then to develop the entrepreneurial mindset, then practical applications of mobile business models, and industry exposure. As we have arranged one industrial visit also, so definitely the participants of this FDP will get the industrial exposure also. The key component of this program that we are having the galaxy of speakers, session experts who will be delivering the talk on the different domain of mobile business models. Then we'll be conducting some hands-on activities also so that you can learn the practical knowledge regarding mobile business landscape. Then industrial visit we have scheduled. Then assessment and evaluation will be there, and networking opportunity will be there. So in conclusion, this faculty development program is designed not only to give you theoretical knowledge, but also to immerse you in the practical world of entrepreneurship. So the landscape is vast, and the mobile business models offers immense potential for innovation, flexibility, and growth. So I encourage you all to take full advantage of this learning experience, participate actively, and engage with the expert and your peers. So I look forward to seeing the ideas and insight that emerge from this program, and wish you all productive and inspiring week ahead. So thank you so much. At last, I would like to thank AICT ATAL Academy for sponsoring the program. So once again, I welcome you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the session, I would request one of our participants, Ms. Namrata Ladha, to kindly give a floral welcome to our special guest, resource person, and the speaker for the first session of this ATAL FDP, to Mr. Partho Sarkar, who is the guest. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to invite our distinguished special guest, a man of immense knowledge, experience, and insight, Mr. Partho Sarkar, founder of the Whole Brain Door. Mr. Sarkar's journey is a unique blend of vast industry expertise and the deep commitment to personal development through the power of science and innovation. To give you a brief introduction, Mr. Sarkar has spent over 28 years in the leather industry, beginning his career with Tata International Devas, where he gained expertise in the areas of production, design, costing, and planning of leather footwear, garments, and bags. His career then took him to South Africa with Astor Burning SA, a German company specializing in upholstery and fashion accessories, and later to Chennai, where he led international merchandising for Triton Leather Works Private Limited, handling a turnover of 220 crore Indian rupees in leather goods, garments, and accessories. However, Mr. Sarkar's professional journey continued to evolve beyond this. For the past 6 years, he has been passionately focused on genetic brain profiling, or GBP, a revolutionary science conducted by Midna, where he now serves as an advanced biometric counselor. If the brain is a microprocessor, Mr. Sarkar believes that fingerprints are its blueprints. Through GBP, he helps individuals understand their self-management skills, how they perceive themselves and others, and how they handle their habits, emotions, and challenges, building their foundation for personal success. What's truly special about GPP is that it involves no stressful tests or questions. Yet, it scientifically analyzes brain's potential, boosts self-awareness, and fuels confidence. Currently, Mr. Sarkar works as a consultant with Youth Help Foundation at Midna Global, based in Coimbatore. His work has touched lives of people across all age groups, helping children overcome early learning challenges, guiding adolescents in their career choices, empowering youth to discover authentic career paths, and supporting adults with their relationship building and career guidance. Sir, today shall be addressing the gathering on the topic, Entrepreneurship Using Your Brain. Sir, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Hello, I'm audible to everybody? Still closer? You want me to use this? This was better, it was working when you were speaking.
You can try with this.
Only thing is I have to bring myself closer now. Chalu hai na? Good morning everyone. I'm sorry, my system is a little slow. I am not slow, but the system is slow. It's taking its time to restart. And I would like to share some of the contents with Dr. Kali Prasad Modak, so that he can basically transfer it in the system and it can be displayed from there. Because if I do it from here, then there are notes which I have to basically prepare. I mean, I have prepared, I won't be able to, record it. It's almost like 2 hours of notes, so everything I can't basically speak ad verbum. Meanwhile, on this subject, when I was approached on this, I'm not a man from mobile technology. That's not my field. And I was surprised as to why I was approached to speak on this. So I took the permission that if I can speak something related with entrepreneurship and human brain. So thank you for giving me that permission. And now that makes me feel at ease to, share with you how I feel an entrepreneur really benefits with whatever he possesses as his human brain. And it's a marvelous kind of connections, which it's not that it is only linked with entrepreneurs only, to any profession, basically how your brain is assisting you, coordinating you, helping you to formulate, to think, and to act. It's any field, but subject to, the point which is more important is subject to, your brain is designed as per that particular field. Otherwise, it becomes a little like there's a more of friction which happens if your brain design is something and your profession which you are practicing is something of not your choice. And that is something which is the biggest challenge which is happening in today's scenario. I'm not saying everybody is not happy. Most of them maybe are, but they still have certain lacuna, certain kind of disconnect with their brain, which doesn't basically, make them to feel fully contented with what they are doing at that moment or whatever they are performing at that moment. That is the kind of science we are dealing with to make you aware where is that particular design flaw. I'm not saying that flaw has come from nature. I'm not blaming God for that or nature for that. Where is that where the synchronization is not happening between what you want and what your brain is basically feeding you? It's a very interesting period, a line, interesting subject, which I hope I will be able to attract your attention. Now, let's begin with what our entrepreneur is, or what we basically mean by as an entrepreneur. Well, I don't need to go to details in explaining that, because that itself is a very common subject. It's a very common topic for everybody of you to understand what is an entrepreneur. But for me, I would like to explain this term, this word entrepreneur in a way, like if you heard of, let's put it in this way, that an entrepreneur is a guy who's basically, is going up the cliff, is jumping from there, and in between while he's falling, he's trying to assemble a plane. Now, how weird is that? What I'm talking, whether it is making sense or not. A guy climbing up the top of a cliff and is jumping up from there, and while he's nose diving, he's trying to assemble a plane, an aeroplane. Now, what happens? It happens either that he completes that plane and then he does what? He falls down. Yeah, so it can be a possibility that he builds that plane on the way while falling down, and he gets into that plane and he flies it. I mean, let's talk all weird things just to understand how I'm trying to relate it with the word entrepreneur. Are we really that weird? Do we really need that to be to that level of weirdness? Well, who knows? Because everything that we are seeing now, the entrepreneurs are bringing in front of us, we say, yeah, it's nice, it's useful, it's common. But do you know that guy who basically bought that imagination in his mind to build that product? What kind of crazy thoughts he had in his mind? Now, is that only one of the possibility of that entrepreneur, or there are any other more? Can you think of? One is what she said. Is there any other possibility? No? There might be? Sorry? Fall. Oh, yeah, yes. But I don't think of the worst. Let's think something much, much better for that. Guy who's jumping off the cliff, he's really trying to assemble that plane, and she says he takes off with that plane. Well, He can take off with that plane, land it somewhere, make a deal with somebody to sell it off, and go and climb another cliff. It can happen. So he's a daring guy, he's taking a risk. So if he has taken a risk, he built a plane while the way down, what he's doing is he's capitalizing on what that risk he has taken, and then he goes again to take another risk. And what may be the third possibility? Is there any more left? No. Think weird, think strange. But it's perfectly normal if he sells that plane and he takes a flight and goes to a Caribbean island and he cools off. Is that something strange? Do you think it can't happen? He says, okay, I've done enough. So, what I have made money, let's go and enjoy. So what we found, and finally what she said, that he crash lands and maybe hurts himself badly or finally is no longer. Now, what do we get from this about an entrepreneur? Did we get something out of all these three situations which I put in front of you? That this guy has such kind of unique, crazy, mind-boggling thoughts coming in his mind that he does all these things. Or he is so, like we call a serial entrepreneur, that he does one job, he takes the risk of doing it, finishes it off, and he goes again to do another one. Right? And there is an option where he basically even sells off that, makes money out of it, finishes off his deal, and he retires. So he's a kind of one-time entrepreneur. There are people who basically, will say that he can utilize that plane in making business, in rolling it out and carrying it as an airlines business or something. Now, here is where I slightly differ. The difference is an entrepreneur is somebody whom I understand is a guy who's constantly updating himself, upgrading with new ideas, bringing some new things to play. If you say that entrepreneur took a risk of building that plane while going downhill, here the going downhill means he was basically under stress. So while going downhill, he has built something. When under stress, he has built something. And then what he does, he runs a very ordinary business. So does he still remain with the features and characteristics of an entrepreneur? That is where I differ. Because I feel the entrepreneur's role is always like he's doing something new, trying to do something new, building up something new. Not to become a regular businessman at the end of the day, once one achievement is done, and then he falls in the line of what other businessmen are doing. So this is the difference I understand for me an entrepreneur to be. this country, India, or as we call Bharat, is existing now like so many thousands of years. I am not a historian, so I can't give you a date. But yes, we know we were a good civilization, a very prosperous civilization, thousands of years even. So did we not have entrepreneurs there then? I remember I have read that we were at one moment of time, we were the top GDP country in the world. We were doing business of spices, handicrafts, clothes, textiles for like decades, thousands, hundreds of years back. So what happened is entrepreneurs were there also at that time. Now they may not be like many people call us that we were traders. Now that is, traders communities also take risk. They also try innovative way of doing business. They also take very adventurous or dangerous, challenging routes to reach to their clients. So we should not stop ourselves from saying that they were not having an entrepreneurial mind. Maybe we categorize them as traders, but that mind was always there, which used to take challenges to find out routes, to negotiate, to interact with those kind of people from different continents. The shipping route was so dangerous. They used to embark that journey. So why should I not treat them as entrepreneurs in their way? And many of them got settled over there. There was a further challenge of staying in that society, living and building up your business from there. So now the point is, if we had that kind of mindset of people, entrepreneurs with us, this new concept of explaining as per the present management and making us feel that, okay, you have invented this particular concept of entrepreneurship. Well, again, I beg to differ on this. We always learn many things, many techniques, many principles, many ideas from the West. They have put into us, saying they have invented or discovered this, whereas those practices were with us for centuries before. Now, I was just going across a list of successful entrepreneurs this country has produced in the last decade from the startup culture. Can you name a few successful ones? Okay. Who's the owner? Huh? Roman Sen. Saini. Where was he from? Jaipur. Okay. So you guys are from that field, so you know the startup guy from that. Anybody else who knows any successful entrepreneur? Yeah, I know. I have his name written. Exactly. For investments, stocks, trading and all that. And this guy basically, as I read, it's like 10 years, he just built him himself. And the flexibility he offers is mind-blowing, in fact, the way at that reduced cost even. Otherwise, the platforms are charging very high for trading most cases. and he 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 basically is stopped doing the conventional way of doing trading. He started doing it on some new ways. Okay, anybody else? Only two? What is his name? Agarwal. Yeah, yeah. He's that Ola guy, isn't it? Yes. So there's somebody, even some Agarwal, who's that into that Oyo homes and Oyo hotels. Yes. So that person is there. But out of this, any female, yeah, beauty products, online, one more. Can you think of who? I didn't get you, I mean, yeah, name. The second name? Okay. Hmm. But Shehnaz was from the startup period, or I think she was before. One more person, lady, I really admire her because I have been following her for pretty long, is Kiran Shah Mazumdar from Bangalore. She is into biochem. I know this very well because I've been following her for almost like 7, 8 years. She started her unit from a garage, in fact, in Bangalore. Yes. So yes, this is one more lady who has basically, attracted my attention. So we talking about this. There is another case I would like to just discuss with you. Hope you will really enjoy this. There is this guy, Dong Nguyen. He's from Vietnam. Now, this guy is crazy. He created a program for smartphones, play app, named it as Flappy Birds. A very simple, yet it was a very addictive game, which basically attracted a lot of clients, customers to him. And it got very hit, I mean, extremely high. It was considered a hit on the Dragon's Den, which is basically a Play Store kind of thing where you play this. Now, when he published this online, he did it for free. He did not basically charge his clients who were applying for this to play. And instead, he was attracting a lot of advertising revenue. So he said, I'm okay with that, fine. So he was earning good. I was astonished to read that this guy reached a stage where he was earning 50,000 US dollars a day only through advertising means sales. He didn't charge anybody for whoever is downloading or playing his games. Now what happened? One day, he stopped the entire thing. He says, I don't want. I'm not interested with this money. So he pulled down his game. And that's it. So what do you say to these kind of entrepreneurs? You have any idea? Is he a failed entrepreneur? Impulsive? At least he had a patience of carrying it. But then what do you say? I mean, sometimes I fail to also analyze certain things. I simply just don't go by the case that has come up or put up and what that guy is trying to interpret. Here, the interpretation given to me was that they don't want to earn a lot of money. Here, the going downhill means he was basically under stress. So while going downhill, he has built something. When under stress, he has built something. And then what he does, he runs a very ordinary business. So does he still remain with the features and characteristics of an entrepreneur? That is where I differ. Because I feel the entrepreneur's role is always like he's doing something new, trying to do something new, building up something new. Not to become a regular businessman at the end of the day, once one achievement is done, and then he falls in the line of what other businessmen are doing. So this is the difference I understand for me an entrepreneur to be. This country, India, or as we call Bharat, is existing now like so many thousands of years. I am not a historian, so I can't give you a date. But yes, we know we were a good civilization, a very prosperous civilization, thousands of years even. So did we not have entrepreneurs there then? I remember I have read that we were at one moment of time, we were the top GDP country in the world. We were doing business of spices, handicrafts, clothes, textiles for like decades, thousands, hundreds of years back. So what happened is entrepreneurs were there also at that time. Now they may not be like many people call us that we were traders. Now that is, traders communities also take risk. They also try innovative way of doing business. They also take very adventurous or dangerous, challenging routes to reach to their clients. So we should not stop ourselves from saying that they were not having an entrepreneurial mind. Maybe we categorize them as traders, but that mind was always there, which used to take challenges to find out routes, to negotiate, to interact with those kind of people from different continents. The shipping route was so dangerous. They used to embark that journey. So why should I not treat them as entrepreneurs in their way? And many of them got settled over there. There was a further challenge of staying in that society, living and building up your business from there. So now the point is, if we had that kind of mindset of people, entrepreneurs with us, this new concept of explaining as per the present management and making us feel that, okay, you have invented this particular concept of entrepreneurship. Well, again, I beg to differ on this. We always learn many things, many techniques, many principles, many ideas from the West. They have put into us, saying they have invented or discovered this, whereas those practices were with us for centuries before. Now, I was just going across a list of successful entrepreneurs this country has produced in the last decade from the startup culture. Can you name a few successful ones? Okay. Who's the owner? Huh? Roman Sen. Saini. Where was he from? Jaipur. Okay. So you guys are from that field, so you know the startup guy from that. Anybody else who knows any successful entrepreneur? Yeah, I know. I have his name written. Exactly. For investments, stocks, trading and all that. And this guy basically, as I read this, it's like 10 years, he just built him himself. And the flexibility he offers is mind-blowing, in fact, the way at that reduced cost even. Otherwise, the platforms are charging very high for trading most cases. And he basically is stopped doing the conventional way of doing trading. He started doing it on some new ways. Okay, anybody else? Only two? What is his name? Agarwal. Yeah. He's that Ola guy, isn't it? Yes. So there's somebody, even some Agarwal, who's that into that Oyo homes and over hotels. Yes. So that person is there. But out of this, any female, beauty products, online, one more. Can you think of who? I didn't get you, name. The second name? Okay. But Shehnaz was from the startup period, or I think she was before. One more person, lady, I really admire her because I have been following her for pretty long, is Kiran Shah Mazumdar from Bangalore. She is into biochem. I know this very well because I've been following her for almost like 7-8 years. She started her unit from a garage, in fact, in Bangalore. Yes. So yes, this is one more lady who has basically, attracted my attention. So we talking about this. There's another case I would like to just discuss with you. Hope you will really enjoy this. There is this guy, Dong Nguyen. He's from Vietnam. Now, this guy is crazy. He created a program for smartphones, play app, named it as Flappy Birds. A very simple, yet it was a very addictive game, which basically attracted a lot of clients, customers to him. And it got very hit, extremely high. It was considered a hit on the Dragon's Den, which is basically a Play Store kind of thing where you play this. Now, when he published this online, he did it for free. He did not basically charge his clients who were applying for this to play. And instead, he was attracting a lot of advertising revenue. So he said, I'm okay with that, fine. So he was earning good. I was astonished to read that this guy reached a stage where he was earning 50,000 US dollars a day only through advertising means sales. He didn't charge anybody for whoever is downloading or playing his games. Now what happened? One day, he stopped the entire thing. He says, I don't want. I'm not interested with this money. So he pulled down his game. And that's it. So what do you say to these kind of entrepreneurs? You have any idea? Is he a failed entrepreneur? Impulsive? At least he had a patience of carrying it. But then, what do you say? I mean, sometimes I fail to also analyze certain things. I simply just don't go by the case that has come up or put up and what that guy is trying to interpret. Here the interpretation given to me was that they don't want to earn a lot of money. They prefer the quieter life of running their own businesses, but not running an empire. Now, we mean to say his aspirations were not there. So does that basically downplay an entrepreneur, that if you don't have aspirations, you are not an entrepreneur? Or is an entrepreneur measured with the monetary gains he makes? Is that the criteria? So if that may be the case, then many of our entrepreneurs will be, they will be disheartened within a couple of months or a year of launching their product or whatever they are trying to build up. So is that a criteria? I don't know. How do you feel about it? Let me know your thoughts. That you rate an entrepreneur to be successful only if he's making tons of money? Or tons of money is basically scaring somebody, basically saying that I don't need it. I'm done with it. It happens. Will you run away if you are getting tons of money? According to the tons of money you are getting. So you're saying that you are building your mind because lots of money is coming to you. No, business scale up doesn't always attract money. It does, invariably, in the end it will. But it's a very long process. But some processes, some businesses are something that you invest or you launch, and within a span of 5-6 months or a year maximum, you start getting a lot of money out of it. So it's your mindset basically, which basically needs to be. Are you saying that? So you have a different mindset in different. So you're strong or flexible or adaptive. What do you call yourself? Both. And if the money goes away, then what happens? You again become rigid. That is creativity you're talking about, that you try to build up against certain things. But mind is not always a part of creativity, it is basically behavior also. How you act with your thoughts.
That's not absolute, that's relative. Sometimes it depends on status to status. When we grow up, sometimes previously when we start earning, we see that money is everything. After a point in time, we recognize that no, I want a peace of mind. After a point in time, we recognize no, this also got to be something to society. So I think that's relative. That's not absolute. That's my perspective.
Everybody doesn't think like that, by the way. Some people do. Some people do. That's a big point you said. What are the people who are executives, who are working, doing jobs? Why don't we treat them as entrepreneurs? So the boss in a job, we are not at a boss. We are not boss. We are following certain instructions, we are following certain rules and all that. But here in this case, he is a boss. So there is a difference.
Either that or he wanted to create a disruption. He created the disruption and he is done with it. Disruption is the way we do business or certain area of business. He wanted to disrupt that, he disrupted it and he done also with it. Like you started.
So he had a mind like that, you mean to say? To come and upset the...
If there is a better way to do business and if I can introduce that, what's wrong with it? Let me start it, people can follow. No problem with that. Let them make money. But on the whole, the business, the way of doing business has changed. That is what he wanted.
So long back, we had an airlines in India which was introduced by the name of Deccan Airlines. You remember that? And it came and it disrupted many of the airlines at the time with such a low cost entry and all that. It was quite a challenge basically at the time to the ones, I think Sahara was there and some other airlines, I don't remember the names. They were there at the time. Like same thing happened in US, Virgin Airlines, if you remember. This was a low cost airline. I think the guy's name was Frank. Richard. Yes, you're right. So this guy also did it like that. He tried to upset but he lived. But this guy didn't, the Deccan guy didn't. So how do you find which one is a better? I mean, was there some fault with the Deccan Airlines guy? No, but then how didn't he survive? He was making money.
Necessarily, success doesn't define whether he's an entrepreneur or not. Because a good entrepreneur, maybe his one venture failed and another would have succeeded. But that is not the parameter we should link with he being a good or bad.
So, I mean, does an entrepreneur has to continue forever? So he had a one-time role, a one-time effort.
Entrepreneurship may or may not create successful business. Business is different and I think entrepreneurship is different.
Whom were we talking about? Okay. But did that brand survive? It didn't. Okay, you're talking about, like, he created a, a zone where basically people can, so it was a concept of like marketing. That is okay, fine. We are going a little different now from here. What we are trying to basically build up in the thought of an entrepreneur playing different kind of roles and games in this. Now, is there any other salient feature observed in an entrepreneur? Like what we talked about, taking risks is one such. Innovativeness, creativity is one such. Can you say some other features about an entrepreneur? Discipline? Okay. Loyalty. Anything else? Yeah. Creativity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, I'm just trying to extract something from you. I am not the master in this. Okay. I am sharing with you something, and I want that you people also should basically come out something. So I have been an entrepreneur for a very short duration in my career. It happened because of forced situation that I ventured into something, and then subsequently I came out of it after facing a lot of hardship. But I enjoyed it very thoroughly. I still feel it is one of the best kind of years I have given. And I was always excited because it's doing something new, trying to break some landmarks with my capability. And ultimately, I came out of it. Okay, I have no regrets at this moment for this. That time I was really very sad. I had to. Now the point here is, what I have understood from there is that, do an entrepreneur leave his business just like that? Or there are some compulsions that makes him to leave? So here is another case I want to discuss here. I know this is a personal matter, experience of mine. A friend of mine, he had a brilliant idea of starting some business. And what he did is, he took his brother-in-law also, he convinced his brother-in-law to come with him and start this venture. So initially both of them worked together. See, the idea, the concept was of this friend of mine, not the brother-in-law's. So let's say, for example, this friend of mine, let's name him Raj, and his brother-in-law is Vivek. So ideas is Raj, concept. He brings in Vivek because he needs teamwork, assistance, and maybe some financial help also. So they both start working. After some period of time, when things were really doing fine, they have expanded into multiple parts of the country. This is a true story. This Raj, the friend of mine, he talks to Vivek and tells him, I will buy out your shares. I want to be on my own. Well, the reason he gave was, since there are a lot of differences now happening because we are growing, so I don't want it to affect our family relations. So let us part ways now. I'm going to buy out your shares and let's part ways. Vivek doesn't enter into any dispute. He hands over his share to his brother. In that case, he's not brother, he's something. So, and he leaves with the money that he has got by selling his shares. So Raj is happy. He made a lot of money by increasing his share. And after 6 months, Raj sells his business. He was making money. He had grown, but he sells his business. And then he goes into some other venture on his own, exclusively. There he is not taking anybody into account. Meanwhile, Vivek, after coming out of this, whatever he earned from there selling the shares, he basically starts with another new venture of his own, runs it for a few months, is not happy, shuts it down. And what he does? He starts working as a driving instructor. He joins a driving school and he starts working as a driving instructor. And he is happy. He says, whatever it is, I have made some money, okay, now I'm start going back to my job. I'm happy with that. I don't want to basically get into those kind of problems of having a business and all. But Raj goes and invests in some other business. He starts with another business, and then he fails again there in that second venture of his. So he downsizes his capabilities or investments, and he starts going into something else, some other business, which later on subsequently grew and he became successful. So I'm giving you an example here of one guy named Raj, another guy named Vivek. What do you make out of this kind of a, whom do you call as the true entrepreneur? Is Vivek an entrepreneur? So Raj happens to be the kind of a guy who's can be termed as entrepreneur. Vivek is not. No. How do you say? Because Vivek didn't have any of his own ideas or anything, you know. He was approached by his brother-in-law, so he went with him. As long as he wanted, he worked with him. What is the difference between an investor and a venture capitalist? Have you heard of the term venture capitalist? And what is the difference between an investor and a venture capitalist? Okay. Do they just randomly keep buying or investing? So they do have interest and research. So doesn't an entrepreneur also have an interest and does a research of whatever he is also investing into? So whose risks are more, the entrepreneur's risk or the venture capitalist? Their risks are more. So entrepreneur finally doesn't loses. So a business is basically measured by the finance. Monetary risk, purely that. But monetary risk he is taking based on his interest. I think a venture capitalist does a lot of research before proceeding to invest with any project. So we don't, you just tell me one thing, we don't treat venture capitalists as entrepreneurs. No, they should not be. Because they lack ideas, new ideas. or they are like vultures capitalizing on somebody's. Am I harsh in using that word? Pardon, pardon me if anybody here is.
Maybe sir, they are good in supporting somebody else's idea. So not necessarily.
So was Vivek something like that? Like he said investor or something like that? But actually, Raj had approached Vivek and saying that, come with me so that we can work together. Investor. Do you agree to this serial and entrepreneur concept, which is basically has been explained by him to venture capitalist? Well, if you don't, I have nothing to say, but I quite appreciate the way he has tried to put it up in saying. Okay, now we'll proceed a little faster from here. What should be an ideal lifespan of a successful entrepreneur? Can somebody define that? What does an entrepreneur treat success to be? No, but we have not been, we have talked about that. That is money being the only, yeah, because again, as I said, quantum of money makes somebody zicky about it. And if a healthy pattern of money flows, then obviously I think people remain normal. So what is the average span, what do you say that ideal lifespan of an entrepreneur should be?
I think the life of an entrepreneur will depend on his way to continue or the pursue this venture until he has that will and resilience and grit to continue.
So again, are you not basically not getting that point which I said, that entrepreneur builds a product or a company and he runs it as a businessman, do you still call him an entrepreneur? He runs it as an ordinary businessman, then he doesn't remain an entrepreneur.
The term serial entrepreneur should not exist.
Why?
If the names we took here of successful entrepreneurs, they did just one venture and they were running the business. For example, Biocon and whatnot.
But you know how much innovations they are doing with them, with their business. They're coming up with so many kind of products. So don't tell me that they have stopped that. And they just produced or developed some 2 or 3 medicines and then they have only stuck with that. No, they have a research lab. They have a lot of investments going into their research. One of the leading research companies in the field of Biocon, I mean in pharmaceuticals.
But then they are still running a business.
Oh yes. They are running a business because they have to, cover the costs.
Fuels their innovation.
Obviously. So that means that entrepreneur mind is still there, no? That's what I'm saying here. But if you don't do any research work or any new product development or any, then it's okay. So what do we call Ratan Tata? Is he an entrepreneur or is he a businessman? He's an investor. Okay. Do you agree? Ratan Tata as an investor, I think he subsequently in the later stage has come into that where he started, investing. Industrialist. Oh, that's again, like, you can be an entrepreneur industrialist also. You can produce new ideas and you can produce new products. He built a new car, his automobile. There are so many other ventures if I start naming. So he is an entrepreneur or he's a businessman? He's a businessman. He doesn't innovate. Huh? I'll now come to another question on this. You raised a point, very good point. But it is there subsequently in mind because I thought about this and I thought I should talk about this also. So you said, okay, he comes from an established family background of business, so he is not supposed to be treated as an entrepreneur. So only the first timers are supposed to be labeled as entrepreneur. There's so many new projects they have started under his leadership. How do you say that it is just because he had a family lineage of hundreds of a business, so where do we add generations? Why do you want to demean his credibility? You were saying something, ma'am. Yeah, I don't mean here the term like life of birth to death. I didn't mean that circle over here. What I meant is that the continuity has to be there, where you keep on constantly improvising or building something new, uh, whatever it may be. It may be your intentions, it may be your direction as a leader. It's not that you have to do it with always your brain, but the idea can come from you. And that's what good leaders are. They give you new ideas. And they show you the willpower, the skill, and the support that is required for his team to work on, develop on it. Now, moving from here, I'll just finish up one thing from here. See, there is no internet here, so I can't send you the mail from my laptop. My internet is not there. So what I was trying to tell you was,
Just copy this pen drive.
आ गया? This one. Yeah, thank you. I'll do one thing. I'll send you the mail which was for the questionnaires. हाँ, एक काम तो कर ले, नहीं तो ये तो बात करते करते बहुत टाइम. Does the entrepreneurial activity come first or the passion comes first? So everybody believes the passion is one which drives you. Why not the other way? You can't develop passion in others. How many of you get induced by some ideas, something new, which is basically like, doesn't it induce your mind? And then the passion for it goes? So entrepreneurs grow from passion or they grow from activities? Which? So there were two research conducted on this, both in German university and I'll tell you what are the findings first. Then we'll talk about what research they did, on whom they did, and why they did. So the first finding from those two researchers, they were both done from same university in Germany. Of course, in one of the research, they had involved Singapore also. Now, in that, the findings they found was, it refuted, not found. The findings refuted the widespread view that dedicated entrepreneurship can only evolve from a pre-existing passion for entrepreneurial spirit. So they refuted this. So it is not that you have a passion because of pre-existing passion and hence you will become a successful entrepreneur. So this was one of the findings, number one. The second was, the more effort one plows into one's company's success, the more enthusiastic about one's own entrepreneurial activity one becomes. So the more you put effort with your, with your company's success, this makes you more enthusiastic about your entrepreneurial activity. And the third one, experiencing success on a regular basis and the possibility of free choice are two factors that play an important role in this context. So you keep on regularly experiencing success and the possibility of free choice. So these are again like two factors which play. So these are the three findings from the two researches which happened. So the first research was an 8-week period activity. This was carried on 52 German entrepreneurs, and on a weekly intervals they were inquired. What were they inquired? They were asked how much passion they felt about their entrepreneurial efforts and entrepreneurial project. So this was the first question. This was the question, with 2 points in this, that how much passion they felt about their entrepreneurial efforts and entrepreneurial project. So one is efforts and other is the project itself. So their responses gave clear indication that there is a correlation between these 2 points, between your efforts and between the project that you are doing. Okay, so the efforts put in during the past week influenced perceived entrepreneurial passion. So what I did last week, efforts which I had put, it kinds of regenerates, your passion for the entrepreneurial activity that you are doing. So the question that I was trying to ask you was, the activity comes first or the passion comes first? So in this case, these entrepreneurs, they were putting in their efforts first, and then because of the success of those efforts, their passion was getting increased. Does it happen? Do you think it happens in real life? Many times? Sometimes we do that hard work, and then we see that the results are coming, and then our passion increases for that. So this was that first research which they did. The second research was, that's more interesting, this was done both in Singapore and Germany, and it was done on the students. And 136 students was the sample size, the group size. And one group was given a choice of business proposals, projects, and they were asked to choose from that choices, make their own choices, and take do independent activity. They were not performing a real entrepreneurial business. They were basically, given a project to play. That okay, you choose a business of your own choice, and you start taking your decisions. So like in a classroom we kind of to play these kind of cases. And there was another group, they were given the projects. They were not given to choose any project. They said this is the project that you will do. Okay. So there was no independence in basically selecting it. And what happened is, the first group was given a lot of positive feedback about whichever projects they had chosen on their own. And the second group, whom were not made to do any choices of their own, they were given negative feedback about the choices they made, or whichever project they took. Now, can you tell me what the outcome was? Obviously, won't you be? Because if you get your own choice, your choice of choosing any project of your own, working on your own, obviously it's going to be positive, and the positive feedback also about when you start with a project. So all these factors basically makes you that the entrepreneurial passion is not always the driving force. It is how you get from the surrounding, the environment that you get. All these factors basically also are playing a big role. So you being a rigid character, personality, is over a certain period of time under certain conditions, we mellow down, or we accept. And that's where the word adaptivity comes, or flexibility comes. That given situations, how you adapt to it and you perform. So I hope this point this short discussion on this point was that entrepreneurial activity breeds entrepreneurial passion, also holds good. I'm not refuting the idea that the passion cannot also drive you into activity. It can, it does. But then many factors play a big role of the surrounding, of the environment, of the conditions. But given already these surrounding conditions and then from that you extract a passion out of it is something which is more genuine, I feel, and is more challenging. You agree or you don't? I just discussed. Okay. Again, taking 2 minutes because now no. Is it by nature or is it by nurture? We were similarly in that last topic talking about the passion and activity. Now I am talking about the spirit of an entrepreneur. Does it come from his nature or is it the nurturing that happens that enlightens his spirit? I always bring topics like this so that we have always two sides of views in it. And that is always which excites me and I learn from it a lot more. It happens. Okay, so who knows, it can come. Maybe IPS will start. Actually, the concept was not there earlier discussed upon. It was there, but to bring it into the mold of like, making a course material and study. Yes. I am also an old product of that. I am not going to my history now. See, there is a term which comes under this is total early stage entrepreneurship. It's called TEA. You can search it. And total early stage entrepreneurial activity. In India, now let me explain you what this is. It is basically like it's calculated. How it's calculated is it combines the percentage of adults who are actively setting up a business. So we're talking about nascent entrepreneurs who are just setting up a business. This is with the percentage of adults who are running a business that has been in operation for more than 3 months but less than 42 months. So these are two figures here we are comparing with those who are nascent entrepreneurs, with those who are already, they are also entrepreneurs but in that period of 3 months to 42 months. So between this is basically the percentage which is derived to call what is total early stage entrepreneurship. And the percentage in India as per last year, 23, was just under 12%, to be actually 11.5% near about exactly. Slightly it was higher than 2022, but it was double than the pandemic time. It was almost At that time, much less, half. So it doubled in 2022, and then in 2022, after that 23, it became 11.5. So we say just under 12%. Now, where are we placed in the global economy with this percentage? Sort of the 49 emerging economies of this world, we are placed 24th in this. And these are some statistics I'm going to read and share it with you about entrepreneurial activities or developments that's happening here. Some other details are like gender-wise, men are more or women are more? I had this figure coming from two sources, so I have a little doubt where somebody told me that it is basically the women who have now outnumbered men. Now, I'll come to that point when I reach there, but at this moment it says men are more likely to start a business than women, and the TEA is 14.6% for men and 9.63% for women. So that is that difference which I told you between those who are nascent and those who are early stage. Among female adults, 11.4% of the total female population is engaged in entrepreneurship in India. Now, do you understand what I said? Amongst the adults. So, amongst the adults, because sometimes there are people who are below that also. So, among female adults, only the female adults, when we are talking about that, 11.4% of the female population is engaged in entrepreneurship in India, and 11.6% of the male population is engaged in the same among the adults. So here it's 11.4 and 11.6. So like the motivation data for entrepreneurship is now refined and very relevant to the entrepreneurship development. People are mainly motivated to start a business for different reasons. So that is 80.7% of the people in India want to start a business to make a difference in the world, which is the kind of, sorry, yeah, yes, 80.7% of them. Now these are, I'm reading it because I don't want to make any mistake in giving you the data. Another important category is earning a living. There are two causes. So out of that, the first cause was that because they want to make a difference in the world. Another is category is earning a living because jobs are scarce. So this is the second reason. The jobs are becoming scarce nowadays, so they want to start with some entrepreneurial activities. And they say 87.3% of the population is motivated by this factor. They are basically scared because jobs are going less and less. So more people are thinking of why not start something of your own. Okay, among the youth, what we earlier discussed was adults. Here amongst the youth, 76.8% are motivated because they want to continue their family tradition. The youths are saying this. And 74.7% of youths have reported that they are motivated by building wealth. So this is the difference, 76.8 and 74%. Now this is, we are talking about the nascent entrepreneurs or the new entrepreneurs. Now let's talk about established business ownership people. So, you know, established business ownership people, the percentage is only 12.4%. in India. I mean, you might start with something, the idea of starting with something or the interest and passion for starting is something, but actually the established ones, which happens over a period of long period, is only 12.4% where they are established. So only 9% of the population of India is engaged in established business. Understand this? The difference? How much established businesses are attracting how much percentage of the total population in India? It's only 9%. Now, digital technology. 2 in 5 new entrepreneurs expect to use more digital technology in the next 6 months. So maybe that interest is growing or entering into that. Now, in the case of job expectations, less than 1 in 10 new entrepreneurs expect to employ at least 6 more people over the next 5 years. So, being an entrepreneur, less than 1 is basically thinking of only employing 6 people. So why are they not dreaming big? Is the risk-taking capability affected? Lack of confidence? Ideas? Or are they not getting inspired? Or are the institutes not preparing them well? Whosoever are. I will reach there at least a little longer. It's 11:24. I have to finish by 12, isn't it? Okay. So I'm leaving these questions to you. Maybe you can answer better. 1 in 5 adults in India expect to start their own business in the next 3 years. This is about adults. Entrepreneurial intention is a very important part of the survey and highlights the possibility of people getting into business. So the level of intentions amongst the population keeps changing, and compared to last year's survey, a persistent change has been observed. Entrepreneurial intentions are 20.1% for this year, and India's ranking is 20th amongst the 49 participating nations. So the intentions are still not growing. We are so much lagging behind to become entrepreneurs. Something to basically think about, because jobs are becoming a scarcity. Government jobs are absolutely not there, or very little are there. And the private sector, I told you, established business, only 9% of the population is getting used in jobs. Now the data shows that 75.5% of the population perceives that there is a good opportunity to start a business in the area. So this is perceive, okay, not something you're doing or believing in. I mean, just seeing it. Only of the 49 participating economies, India has ranked 7th for perceived opportunities out of the 49. So the perceived opportunities we are having higher. So 78% of youth perceived that they had confidence in one's ability to start a business. So out of the 51 economies that participated, India ranked 5th on perceived capabilities. So there is a perceived opportunity and there is a perceived capability. And above 54% of youth have reported that they are not able to start a business due to the finding of fear of failure. So fear of failure is basically one thing. So India ranks 5th amongst these participating economies that highlights that there is a fear of failure among youth to choose to be an entrepreneur. Out of the 49 economies that participated, India ranked 6th in ease of doing business. It's surprising, yes, it has improved a lot. Now, just compare these data, the TEA data, which I said India's is 12 something, I said, no, 11.5 or something, I said. 12%, actually it's 11.5. So let's compare these TEA data with some other countries of this world. Just going quickly through it. US, it is 14.7. Canada, it is 19.76. Other emerging powers such as Brazil, it is 18.6. Mexico is 16.8. Saudi Arabia is 25.34. Okay. In Europe has a mixed picture. Latvia is 14.34, Netherlands 13.69, Croatia 13.15, Estonia 13.09. Now many countries said below this 13%, even UK is 11.76, Cyprus 11.04, France and Slovakia 10.75, and even the tail ending ones, Poland is 2.59. Romania 5.85, Lithuania is 6.68, Greece is 6.74, Spain is 6.79. Any idea why such low in these countries? I have no idea. Maybe some of these are communist countries where it can happen so, but not many. Okay. I wanted to basically, when I started this discussion, I said nature or nurture, isn't it? About that. So many people, like you said, they do excellent jobs as employees. Okay, but they feel overwhelmed when they are given this thought of starting their own business, something of their own. Now, it's because of the fear factor, mostly, that they are afraid to. Now, these figures which I was discussing, basically, you should derive certain things from this to say that why we are lacking behind most of the people in this country. So, is it the nature which is basically drawing you back? Okay. So a guy who's in a village, he doesn't have such kind of infrastructure or facilities to basically go and educate himself. Does he take a risk for becoming an entrepreneur? In his scale, in his level, I am not comparing it with somebody, but he also thinks of growing big subsequently. And in today's information technology, communication, with all these factors together, everybody is having an almost equal access to information. So the youths in the rural areas are also equally, I'll not say fully charged, but they are equally aware of the prospects of growing up and becoming an entrepreneur. So, nurture does mean circumstances, isn't it? Experiences and the learning, that plays an important role. But personality plays an important role when it comes to nature. So what happens if you are born with a dominant personality, but your nurturing has not happened? Well, you say something. How does a child who's very dominating in nature makes his way out and presents his case in front of his parents to prove his point and to get his things done? So, are we a little less dominating? Indians.
For Indians, I would think here the struggle for existence and making money is low compared to developed countries. And that is what.
Is that an excuse?
No, that I would say.
I just read the figures of so many countries. Do you think all these countries are way above India in terms of economy, in terms of size, in natural resources, and let's say even say corruption? You know how much corruption is there even in Europe or in US or Latin America? So that factor is not the factor of गरीबी और भूखमरी या इलिटरेसी. वो तो आजकल सभी लोग पढ़ लिख रहे हैं आजकल. It has gone up like anything. So personality here is playing a role, or nurturing is playing a role. Again, I'm leaving it to you because I have to move ahead. One question I'm asking from this discussion is, who would you better fit to be in an entrepreneur shoes? A realistic person, an investigative person, an artistic person, a social person, an enterprising person, or a conventional person? Now, these are 6 things I said. This is my question. This has not been taken down from anywhere. I understand, I'm throwing this question to you. If you want to basically research about these types of persons, you can very well do it. And you can share it and exchange ideas amongst yourselves, or even somebody can call me and say me that this is what you all feel. I hope you noted down the names of the kind of persons, everybody. No, nobody missed it. So that ends this particular point of nurture and nature. Okay. The next subject I would like to talk about is the entrepreneur skills. So the entrepreneurs, as I have listed down some 8 skills. The first one which I mentioned and found it appropriate was they love what they do. What they do. So this is one of the skills. Entrepreneurs love what they do. Somebody was asking me today in the morning, Gautam, we were talking about this. You said, and I said, I really love this. I loved my previous profession also. So that's why I was there for almost like 30 some years, but now I have come to this. So this is something which basically is a key skill. Now you call this as a skill, love as a skill. is it love or is it passion or is it like involvement? Maybe the word is loosely used as love, but the involvement is something which basically is more key factor over here. Secondly is, now, where does this come from? It's a very key characteristic trait, or we call it a sub-trait, but it's called a trait. When we named it as, this comes from self-motivation. How much do you agree on this? You motivate yourself to be passionate about something, or your passions motivate you. So many things have two ways over here. Is it the passion coming first and then the motivation happens? Or you motivate yourself to have the passion built up? Now, second one is, the entrepreneurs, they must know their strengths and weaknesses. There is no shortcuts in this. There is no doubts in this, which I always say, any human being, whether you are an entrepreneur or anywhere else, you have to basically know your weaknesses and strength. Third skill, they must and they can develop and communicate a compelling vision. The vision has to be so strong. Otherwise, you will get washed away. You'll get distracted, drawn away, weakened. If the vision is there, that you want to succeed, you want to prove yourself. So the mail I sent you yesterday was at 11 past 2 in the morning. If you just note the time. I just wanted to just say this, that it is because I have a very, very strong feeling and a vision and attachment for what I do. I love it so badly. I don't care about what time, till what time I'm working. Even when, like, I will be 60 this November. So I don't care. I just got a couple of hours of sleep. Got up again at 5:30, made a cup of tea for me. Again sat back, started doing something of mine. So this is the level. I'm not trying to prove myself anything over here, but I'm saying your commitment and your efforts needs to basically be in this kind of direction, where you don't know or you don't care and bother about, what time you got up to, how many hours you have practically gone to sleep. It's the idea behind it, or it's the vision behind it, your mission, which basically drives you. So that is one skill. The fourth one is, they are prepared to fail. Now this is something which we were talking an hour back, that how long you should exist, sustain yourself as an entrepreneur. But then failure can happen. But you have to get up again and try again. That is the point also. So once you leave it, then it's no longer as an entrepreneur. Fifth is, they must be prepared to learn. This learning process is something like, it's ongoing. It never ends. Not even till the last day you breathe. So agree on this fifth skill. Then the sixth is, the entrepreneurs, they do. Do means they work. They don't only sit, plan, imagine, draw. They execute. They go out and execute it. So they are action focused. Now, no excuses for that. That aaj nahi, kal, like that, what we do. Indore is very famous for this. Do you know? Do you agree? I'm sorry, I belong to this place, but I am hurt very badly with this kind of. It's a fact. Do you agree? Anybody? How many? You don't agree? How many don't agree?
We do it or we don't act.
You don't act. नहीं, वो जो एक वर्ड है ना प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन, है ना, यहाँ ज़्यादा है कुछ. आई मीन यहाँ मीन्स हर चीज़ में. अच्छा, the next point is the entrepreneurs, they must have a reasonable amount of financial understanding. This is very very true. ये तो कहाँ से bleed हो रहा है कुछ पता ही नहीं चल, कितना आना चाहिए, कहाँ से आएगा, all these things का पता ही नहीं, लेकिन काम करने बिजनेस करने उतर गए. And finally, the eighth point is entrepreneurs are customer focused and prepared to sell. This is some very, ये सभी important है भाई. किसको छोड़ दोगे आप बोलो? तो मेरा इसमें से एक क्वेश्चन बनता है अगेन, लाइक आफ्टर दिस, ये जो बिहेवियरल ट्रेट्स की बात मैं कर रहा था, let's say, can you just say that persistence is one trait? Do they need it, the entrepreneurs? Okay, this is your question. You can say it loudly or you can keep quiet. Sensitivity. What do you say about this? They need to be very, very sensitive, extra sensitive.
No, it's not that somebody should be able to perceive the problem in society and then you engage in entrepreneurial project.
Is that what sensitivity is?
Sensitivity is affected by a lot of factors.
Touchy. थोड़े से में आपको बुरा मान जाना, सेंसिटिविटी हमें तो ऐसा ही समझ में आता है. वी अंडरस्टैंड इट लाइक दिस, दैट हाउ सेंसिटिव यू आर फ्रॉम विद इन, लाइक टच सेंसिटिव, टच, broad lights are sensitive to your eyes, bright lights, loud sounds are sensitive to your ears, heat is sensitive to your skin, extreme cold is, so like that sensitive. Do they need to be? Give your own reasons to satisfy your own yourself. Third, self-confidence. I think everybody agrees on this. Fourth, thoughtfulness. They too much? Thoughtfulness too much. वही है ना, हर चीज़ को हम कहते हैं कि मात्रा में होना चाहिए, तो मात्रा ही वाली बात मेरे ख्याल से ठीक है, बिकॉज इफ़ यू आर एक्सट्रीमली थॉटफुलनेस देन योर एक्शंस विल नॉट हैपन. हर चीज़ में आप लटक जाओगे सोचते सोचते कि यार ये नहीं तो वो, अब ये करते हुए सोच रहे कि नहीं मैं वो कर लूँ. The extreme of this thoughtfulness is again very, very difficult to make you a good entrepreneur. Then self-motivation. One is self-confidence, another is self-motivation. These are two different things now. You understand perfectly well, so you have to motivate yourself constantly. And confidence is you believe in what basically you're doing. And then the next is patience. This is extremely required. Cooperative. how many do you agree that an entrepreneur needs to be cooperative? You agree? You cannot be self-centered and you cannot be keeping all things to you. You need a team. Exactly. And there you have to cooperate with everybody. So this is a key factor. Then independence. सब में हाँ, क्यों ना क्यों नहीं बोल रहे आप? Independence is good for an entrepreneur. Say why?
That's how they would take more decisions.
Cooperative and independence दोनों थोड़ा opposite नहीं हो गया?
Independence of thought and decision, I would say. They are
यार
not
कोऑपरेटिव तभी होते हैं जब आप थॉट्स में आपका आता है ना वो, अदरवाइज so it has some specific areas that you are talking about where independence plays an important role, where you have to prove your identity and you have to remain with that identity, not being very fluid about it, your principles, your practices, that you should have an independent identity, a mindset, a thought of yours, so that people can distinguish between you and the others. So that is where the independence comes to a role. Not that always कि जैसे where a corporate party में the owner comes and he keeps himself aloof, or he comes to give a few minutes of presence with everybody and goes out, behaves like a celebrity figure, somebody different, saying that I am very independent minded. What does it mean? It shows something selfishness of yours. Basically, you're not mixing with your people. So here the independence is a factor which basically I have seen many times that the entrepreneurs, they want to maintain a distance from their people, saying that they are very independent minded and don't want to mix in with the general category of people around them. That is harmful, very, very harmful to me. Then we have efficiency. This is one more skill area which I think everybody agrees. Then enthusiasm, and then finally accuracy. Accuracy has to be a key part of your skills. You cannot basically have goals set which are not accurate from the your targets are there. If you don't set a good target, a realistic target, accurate target, then you will be always going haywire, or you will not reach to your potential if the targets are not accurate. So I'm talking about target accuracy. Similarly, goal accuracies are there where you fix strategies, how you're going to basically achieve to a certain point of time. Let's say 6 months from now, we will be achieving this. So you have to have an accurate strategy for that, for the 6 months duration where you are working step by step to reach to that particular goal point. If that accuracy is not set by the entrepreneur, then it becomes like कि क्या मज़ा है कि वो 6 महीने तो बोल के गए लेकिन वो काम होने में अपने को 9 महीने लग गए. So then you're chill, you relax, and then you don't basically perform to that level of efficiency. Okay. Sir, am I ending myself? So can I play that video now? Because it's a 10 minutes video also. So
brain right now. But since we humans are the ones creating and using this technology, maybe a better question to ask is, how are we shaping our brains? There's so much about the brain that we don't know. But there are some things we do know. You see, not long after we humans began thinking, we began thinking about ways to understand our own brains. One strategy thinkers have used throughout history is to compare the brain to the newest technology of their day. The brain is a clock, a switchboard, a steam engine, a machine, a computer. And we wondered, how can today's technology help us understand the brain in a new way? So we used that technology to ask people all over the world, how do you imagine the brain? It was amazing, like all these neurons firing ideas and images back to us from all over the world. And it was very clear. The internet, the most advanced technological system in the world, is such a strong framework to help understand the human brain, the most advanced biological system in the world. But then we thought about it a bit more. And since the internet is in such a young developmental stage, rapidly growing, constantly changing, forming billions of new connections all over the world, then maybe a stronger framework would be to compare it to a child's brain, which is in a similar stage of development, rapidly growing, constantly changing, and making billions upon billions of connections between different parts of the brain. So here's the question. If we say that the internet is in a similar developmental stage as a child's brain, then what can we learn by comparing them? Let's start with size. Obviously, the internet seems like a larger entity than a child's brain. But what does that mean in terms of our analogy? We could say that a neuron in the brain would be like a web page in the internet. So let's look at the number of neurons in a child's brain compared to the number of web pages on the internet. Well, a human at any age has about 100 billion neurons in the brain. But the internet has 10 times that, 1 trillion web pages. So with this analogy, the internet is bigger. So then, which of these networks is more complex? We could say a synapse in the brain, the connection point between two neurons, is like a hyperlink, the connection point between two web pages. So are there more connections in a child's brain or on the internet? Well, the internet has over 100 trillion links. And an adult's brain has 300 trillion links. But get this, a child's brain has a quadrillion connections, 10 times the number of connections of the entire internet. A child's brain has more connections than the entire internet. Yes, it blew our minds too. How is that even possible? Let's break it down. As we said, a baby is born with 100 billion neurons. But those quadrillion connections, they're not there yet. Those connections form at a very rapid speed during the first 5 years of life, at 700 to 1,000 new synapses per second. Those connections are created through every interaction a child has, and are important because they form the architecture of the brain. So every time you talk to and engage with a child, you are literally growing a brain, connecting the different parts of the brain, which allows for new ideas, insights, and creative thinking. So each moment of eye contact, each new word exchanged, each time you make a child laugh, you are strengthening these connections. And since there are so many different ways to do this, we ask people around the world, send us videos of your favorite ways to engage with the children in your life. During these early years, a child's brain makes as many connections as possible. And then it begins pruning the ones that aren't used and strengthening the ones that are. A dynamic process that continues throughout life. But since a child's brain is activated by everything it encounters, it can also be overwhelmed, which causes stress. When the brain experiences stress, the body's alarm system is activated. If the stress is relieved quickly, the system easily returns to normal. And while learning to deal with stress is an important part of development, severe situations such as ongoing abuse or neglect, where there is no caring adult to relieve the stress, leaves the body's alarm system activated, which can have serious lifelong consequences for the child. This is known as toxic stress. Toxic stress can lead to a body system set permanently on high alert. It causes the synapses we use for learning and self-control to be pruned, while connections for fear and rash behavior get stronger. While the brain can change throughout the rest of life, these early years are fundamental in building a strong foundation for curiosity, creativity, and adaptability. And if we say that the internet is in the same critical stage of early development, making as many connections as possible, we also need to be mindful of how we're building its foundation. Just like every interaction creates new connections in a child's brain, every email, tweet, search, or post is creating and strengthening connections in our global brain, literally changing the shape of the internet that we as billions of people all over the world are developing together. And just as it's key for all the different parts of a child's brain to be connected to set the stage for the most insightful and creative thoughts, it's key that all the different parts of the world are connected to lay the foundation for worldwide empathy, innovation, and human expression. And while we don't know all the ways technology is reshaping our brains yet, we do know that every time we plug in, every person we follow, email, or link to, we know it's affecting us. So we need to be mindful of what we let into our brains, always. Which sometimes means knowing when to disconnect. Just as it's not good for a child's brain to be constantly over or understimulated, it's not good for an adult's brain either. For both the internet and a child's brain, the connections we pay most attention to will be strengthened, while the ones we use less will be pruned. So how do we nurture both these growing interconnected networks to set a course for a better future? By paying attention to what we are paying attention to. Attention is the mind's most valuable resource. Every interaction counts. We all have the opportunity to shape the future of the world, and our future starts here.
So this is like we reach here. Have much more. That liked it, enjoyed it, understood it better, found it applicated, and to be used in your life, where we are talking about neuron connections and your network connections. Another
question which I believe that you have given them.
Yes, yes.
If you can just pass it on amongst.
Have you given them their field and they have?
Oh, they have given all three, right. So before the video was played, they have given.
Yes.
Wow, so nice. I was just expecting somebody here, now all of you to hear from some percentages of your belief in these questions. Like, is your creativity brain-based? Somebody has ticked, but no internet-based. How come? Does anybody agree on this fully? I don't agree to this. Is your creativity totally brain-based? Are we not basically using the help of the internet to achieve so much of creativity of our, or enhance, or modify, or prune it, or redesign it, add value to it? Or is it that all that creativity in this world is purely all coming out brain-based? There is no technology involved in it? Huh? So, I mean, somebody has said internet-based. I am not taking any name in this, but brain-based, internet-based, okay. Now, did you like these questions? Was they any way helpful for you to make a distinction between the value you give to your brain and or to the internet in today's world? So how many of you agree that which is more important, brain or internet? I know we'll as human beings will always say brain. We are not machines. But our dependency on this internet, as we progress in our age, has it increased? And when does this start reaching a plateau and then it goes down? When? Strictly. Even your programs or whatever you watch on OTT or anything, all that, they are all internet based. So, how do you find that? Where are we going to stop? At what age we'll go and stop? How old? I haven't stopped yet. Okay, you're saying physical disability because of that. Not until then. You want to update your death also is coming? After death also, keep your Facebook on. People will keep posting on it. है ना? तो चलता रहेगा फिर. Anyway, it was a nice session. I hope you enjoyed this interaction. I had almost finished 60% of it. There was a lot more left. And the most interesting thing, which was basically the profile work which I do, it is something which is going to take a little longer. I have a habit of at least speaking for 4 to 5 hours minimum at a stretch. But somehow we have time constraint over here, so no complaints. If someday if opportunity arises, we get a chance to meet again, I would love to share with you something, if not on entrepreneur, some other subject, I'd love to, or on my profession or the work which I do is brain profiling. It takes minimum couple of hours at least to explain what this kind of work is. And I like to speak to audiences who love to listen to me. And no, I like audiences who question me also. That is more what I enjoy. So देखते हैं आगे क्या टाइम मिलता है, चांस मिलता है कि नहीं. We'll meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of our entire participants and this FDP program, the coordinators, we are really privileged to have been hearing you and on so many aspects of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. So as a token of love and remembrance, I'll ask Pallavi ma'am to please honor our guest. Thank you, sir. I would request everybody to please gather so that we can have a group photograph. Yeah, just here.